Yep, I'm going to take next week off. And I made it to the ad hoc committee on Monday, though. And I was pretty blunt. I made Robert a much steeper hill to climb. As I talked about from the beginning, and basically they've been 5 years notice, and our board took a risk, considered them partners, and they can't compare 2 million to 250. You got to take away what we pay for SBS. You got to take away what value did that class 2 leachate have. The only way we can sort of monetize it is say, well, look, it's costing Republic this much a year for biosolids. You don't treat that anymore. You don't receive that benefit. We do because we treat it, but that's what you used to get. So now we're taking care of that too. So that's another 500,000. So now we get down to about $1 million. What do you get? Greenhouse gas reduction. You don't have $60 to $70 million in capital. Yeah. Then I saw Mary chuckling at the time because I said 60 or 70 million. I said, plus you have a $24 million obligation from the water board on your NPDES permit that you must do just in gravity sewage, much less all the other improvements you need throughout your system. Do you really want to saddle yourself with constructing 60 to 70 million dollars investing in redundant infrastructure? If some of your residents are our ratepayers. Redundant infrastructure. And by the way, if you really want a comparison, this one is much more straightforward. The only legal obligation I had was to give you a 12-month notice on your lease. I gave you 18. We have a 5-year notice on our infrastructure change. If you want to not enter into an agreement with us, well, I'll give you 2 weeks notice. We'll turn the valve and take care of it yourself. That'll cost you about $4 million a year until you bring your digesters online. That's your real comparison, 2 million to 4 million. We're offering you you don't have to do anything except send it down a safer one-way line. By the way, you own not it. So no, we put ourselves right where we need to be. And so it stayed on consent. And
Recording in progress.
Okay, I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:33. This is the last meeting of 2024. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Director King-Meredith.
Present.
Director Sudduth. Present. Director Weiner.
Present.
Vice President Rentila.
here.
President Alvarado.
Here.
We have a quorum with all 5 members present.
Okay, thank you. So next item is I'm going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and you may observe a moment of silence, seated or standing. Vice President Rentila, please lead us through the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. General Counsel Nicole Witt will serve as parliamentarian for tonight's meeting.
As a reminder to members of the public in attendance, the board has adopted rules governing the conduct of its meetings. Public participation is welcome and encouraged. All public comments should be addressed to the board as a body, and the board asks that you please respect the 3-minute time limit per speaker. All persons attending the board meetings shall observe the rules, any additional rules the board may establish, and the orders of the president with respect to the conduct of the meeting. No person may disrupt or disturb the board meeting. Disturbing, impeding, or otherwise preventing the orderly conduct of the board meeting could result in an individual's removal from the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. Directors, before we begin tonight's agenda, I ask that you be mindful of the board's rules of decorum, in particular to practice civility and decorum in discussions and debate. In order to preserve the order of this and every board meeting, directors will wait to speak until they are recognized and will restrict their comments to the motion or the agenda item under consideration. Thank you. Now it's time for public comments on items not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak for tonight's meeting?
If anyone wishes to speak on non-agenda items, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, we are taking a moment in tonight's meeting to honor the commitment and dedication of re-elected board members Annie King-Meredith and Harry Weiner. Directors King-Meredith and Director Weiner were officially sworn in before this meeting, but I will administer the ceremonial oath of office for their re-election to serve another term on the West County Wastewater Board of Directors. This new term of office reflects the trust and confidence the community has in its directors' ability to continue leading with integrity and vision. It also represents Director King-Meredith's and Director Weiner's commitment to West County Wastewater's mission to protect public health through safe, responsible wastewater collection and treatment, recovering the water for reuse, and promoting environmental stewardship for our community, as well as the agency's core values. So, Directors King and Director Weiner, please stand.
President Colorado?
Yes.
Might be better for photos if you guys move down there.
Sure. We can do that.
They're gonna come.
Kind of traditional too, right?
It's always a little different depending on who we bring. Let's see, Director Weiner's wife. Okay. Wherever you want, Mr. President, just be allowed to.
Are you in the camera?
Justin?
Come this way a little bit. I think that's pretty good.
Is that good, Latima?
All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Harry Weiner. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and Constitution of the State of California against all enemies.
Yeah, break it up a little bit.
No
Yeah,
too much?
break it
No
up,
too
yeah.
much for you guys?
Yeah. So we can get it right, okay?
All right, all right.
Yeah,
All right. That I will support
yeah.
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
Yes, I support the Constitution of the United States and the state of California
Okay, against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the state of California.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or
With-
purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose, or without purpose or evasion.
okay? And that I will well
And I will well
faithfully discharge the duties
faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Okay, congratulations, Director King-Meredith and Weiner, on your new term of office. We look forward to your continued contributions to the board and the community we serve. Please join me in celebrating this important occasion with an applause, please. Thank you. That's for you, Director Weiner.
Okay.
This is for you.
Okay, thank
Can I
you,
get
thank
you
you.
the photo in the middle?
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank
That's
you.
good, yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a few words. Should I? You're gonna do it there or here? I could come up to my. Congratulations. All right, without me leaning over. I can project, so I will. I like to think that I retained my seat because any opposition was too frightening to run against me. Unfortunately, the truth is more likely no one had enough interest to run. Running for office is not a matter to be taken lightly, and election is not to be taken for granted. Since there was no opposition to my continuing on the board, I believe that I've been a good enough public servant, still have the public trust, and promise to do my best to retain it. I want to thank my most loyal and long-term supporter, my wife Anita White, for attending. Finally, I would like to dedicate my next term to Michael Rock Sudduth,
Mine too.
who taught me what it is to persevere with bravery, wit, good cheer, generosity, and service, in spite the adversity of a constantly painful ailment. I will do you proud.
Okay, thank you. Director King-Meredith, any words?
Thank you, President Alvarado, and to everyone, and to the audience and my colleagues up here at the Board of Directors. I was going to be very brief and very short. I'm not going forever and over, but I would like to thank you, my constituency, for allowing me to enter into a 4-year term here at the County Wastewater. I've learned a lot. I did a lot of studying, and I feel that I can do the constituents do justice when it comes to what is needed for my district. And I would like to thank my family for putting up with me and others, due to my other busy schedule. But I feel that I've learned a great deal and have been working with outstanding staff here with the vision to take us in the century of where we're going. So I'd like to thank you all so very much, and to our board president, vice president, and to my colleagues here, the directors. I appreciate you all, and thank you for putting up with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we begin tonight's agenda, Director Weiner, would you like a photo with your wife? Okay. You sure? Okay. If you want to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Director Sudduth.
Congratulations to both of you. We all know from experience, especially President Alvarado and I, that running for office, especially re-election, is not easy, and it's not an easy decision to make. And while we may not always agree, which we shouldn't, hell, I don't agree with myself sometimes. It's an admirable undertaking, and it's hard. And a lot of people, if I were you, Director Winter, stick with the first one. They're too scared to run. Say that's my story, I'm gonna stick with it. I think that is public service is not easy, and it's, you know, I admire anybody who put their name in and puts their time and effort and energy, and families who allow us to have you sit behind this dais, because it's a lot of work and a lot of people don't understand that. It's a lot of work, energy, effort, heart, pain and tears, even when they don't come out of the eyeballs, is a lot to do. So thank you for your commitment and for your work. I appreciate it, and we got a lot of work to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Rentila, couple of words?
Yeah, I want to congratulate both of you for being reelected, even though you ran unopposed. I'm glad that you're back, because this year it seems like we've been pretty good as a team. So I really appreciate all the work that you guys have put forth, and I look forward to a productive and prosperous 2025 with you guys, and welcome aboard again, and thank you.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much, and I echo those same sentiments. Welcome back for another 4 years. And let's get to work, as they say. All right, General Manager Andrew Clow, please lead us through the rest of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. The consent calendar consists of items 1 through 4 on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on the consent calendar items?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on consent calendar items, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. As we see a hand coming from the audience. So you will have, yes, please approach the podium. So you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and if you wouldn't mind stating your name for the record.
Thank you. I will do my best. I would like to speak on, oh, sorry. No, it's. I can hear. Hello.
We can definitely hear you now.
I would like to speak on item number 4 for the MEU. My name is Geraldine Gonzalez, and I've been working with the district. Oh, by the way, before I start, I'm sorry, my apology. Congratulations, Director Meredith, and congratulations, Director Wiener. Thank you for your public service. By the way, my name is Geraldine Gonzalez. I've been working for West County Wastewater for 22 years, and out of those 22 years, I've been a union leadership for 17 years, mainly for the field operation unit. For the last 5 years, I've been the unit leader for the managerial employee unit, which is the item on number 4. On behalf of Local 1, Council 57, and MEU, we would like to thank all of you for all the key players that help us to get to this contract, right? We would like to thank Andrew, our general manager, Tanya. I know Charlie is not here, and most especially the board members for working with us. We do appreciate that. I'm here to touch on some of the key points of the drivers of this negotiation for MEU. I will be lying to you or to myself and for all of us that we did this for ourselves, to give our family a better life. But our main driver, our focus is really,
Don't worry, she won't dock your 3 minutes.
Yep, I gotta add extra time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. But our main drivers and focus on our negotiation is the boots on the ground. I'm referring to our FOU, our ACU members. And why is that? I'm a manager. I'm a lab manager. I've been a lab manager for the last 5 years. One of my job is
to build a succession planning. And with that succession planning, the recruitment and retention is in our mind, right? We have some divisions that actually had some challenges on those both areas, and our concern is we don't want this to be a training ground, the West County wastewater. We want to remain competitive out there. We're not on the bottom. We do recognize that. We're not on the top. But our concern is we don't want to keep chasing every single time. And as a manager, we look at that, that's just a title. We're actually our mentors, and we're actually leaders. We are here to empower our staff. We are here to tap into their strength and give resources to work on their weaknesses, because their success is our success. Our goal is also to promote from within. I'm one of those people that actually got promoted here. I started as a lab technician, got reclassified as a lab analyst, and then as a manager, I created an opportunity for the lab analyst too. And we also have some members here who actually also came from not a manager, and one of them is an MEU unit. It's actually Joe Neugebauer, and as you know, our deputy general manager, oh, he just left, Michael Savannah. But as a manager, we are here to prepare the next leaders. We are trying to have them, give them the drive to advance their career here at West County and take our spot in the future, because we really want to focus on the retention, and we're hoping that advancing their career here, what we give them is paying forward, and in return they will also pay forward and get the new people be ready, our new staff to be ready, and hopefully our compensation on the managerial unit will be just a cherry on the top for them. And with that, I want to just thank you again for allowing me to speak, and thank you again.
Thank you.
I'll call again one more time for any comments in Zoom or, all right,
Looks
I
like we got
see
another
another comment.
Good evening. Joe Neugebauer, the Environmental Services Manager with West County Wastewater. I just wanted to ditto everything that Geraldine just said, and also add my congratulations to Directors King-Meredith and Weiner for your next term. And thanks again to the board, and especially to General Manager Clow and the rest of the negotiating team. These negotiations got a little testy, as these things tend to do sometimes, but we're very happy with the way things turned out, and we're looking forward to continuing to move forward into the future. Very proud to be working for West County Wastewater for 15 years now, just over 15 years, so hopefully many more. So I just wanted to add my thanks, and appreciate you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. I see no further comments.
Any questions or comments from the board, Mr. President?
Okay, that's it. There's no... So any questions or comments from any members of the board? If not, I would ask for a motion on approval of consent calendar items 1 through 4. Can I get a motion?
I'll move the item.
And I'll second it.
Okay, the item's been moved and properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
On the motion by Director Sudduth and seconded by Director King-Meredith to approve consent calendar items 1 through 4, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item number 5, which includes adopting a resolution approving actions related to the termination of the WCA Joint Powers Agreement and dissolution of the West County Agency, and authorizing the board president to accept real property. It also includes approving the Second Amendment to the ground lease, extending lease of sludge lagoons on a month-to-month basis. That's an agreement with the city of Richmond. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on item 5?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 5, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Before the presentation, I'd like to note that this item involves contracts between West County Wastewater and West County Agency. President Alvarado and Director Sudduth serve on the board of the West County Agency, and Director King-Meredith serves as an alternate. This presents a non-interest under Government Code Section 1091.5A9, which is part of the state law that prohibits conflicts of interest. I'm making this disclosure for the purpose of notifying the board and the public of the director's dual roles in this matter, and I request that this disclosure be included in the record of this meeting.
Thank you. Mr. President, I could give whatever level of presentation you would like on this particular item. I believe our board is quite familiar with this. We've been here quite a number of times talking with the West County Agency. I'll give a very brief summary of what we're accomplishing here tonight, and that is to actually, much like the Richmond City Council did last night, and then here tonight, and then tomorrow, the WCA Board approving the final dissolution of the Joint Powers Agreement, actually dissolving a public agency. And these actions here involve the distribution of those real property assets, and then there are some agreements between the two agencies regarding how we'll handle those assets and work with each other in the future. There will be an additional significant agreement with the City of Richmond around an operating agreement that may incorporate these. We don't know what form it'll ultimately take, but there's still a lot more discussion with Richmond around the details of the sludge that they would send to us and that we then would generate and treat and create biosolids, the Class A biosolids, through our new infrastructure. So that will be coming back in the future. But this one really began and was necessitated. It was not necessitated that the WCA dissolve, but rather when we did our significant infrastructure improvements as part of the Clean and Green project that dramatically changed how the operations between the two agencies would be handled. We knew we were going to have to enter into operating agreements with the City of Richmond, and we knew that that would change perhaps the way we manage some of the assets that were being managed by the West County Agency. Right. So we took the opportunity to look much closer at the West County Agency and what was the universe of assets they were managing. Was it necessary? By the time we got done, after a deep dive into the old records and property records, et cetera, it became relatively apparent that we had the ability here to dissolve a public agency, in other words, reduce bureaucracy while at the same time increasing transparency. And we'll make sure we do that by, as we talked about with the mayor, the Richmond mayor on Monday at their ad hoc committee, is establishing regular interactions, either presentations at their ad hoc committee or some form of joint meeting between the West County Wastewater Board and a segment or the Richmond City Council once a year to basically talk about and give updates on behalf of both agencies and what's happening. The West County Agency only managed a very small subset of assets, created a good deal of bureaucracy for which almost entirely fell upon West County Wastewater. And what we found was that we could easily do that between the two agencies and then establish that within these operating agreements and be actually more transparent to the public because, well, I'm not sure the last time I saw somebody from the public show up at a West County Agency meeting. It's a public record, right. Absolutely, but the public, it kind of flies under the radar. But by saying we're going to commit to some kind of a joint meeting with the City of Richmond on a regular basis, we actually put in front of more people more clearly the activities between the two agencies and what we're doing. And so that, I know, is something that the mayor was quite interested in his role on the WCA board. And we have two members here with President Alvarado and Director Sudduth. If you wanted to add anything else to it, I could talk more about our discussions with Richmond and all of that, but it really is something I think we can discuss in more detail when we come back with actual operating agreement with them for how to handle our biosolids and the sludge, et cetera. But this action, like I said, is to dissolve the WCA and make clear ownership of real assets, et cetera. Is there anything in particular that you want to mention there that I didn't regarding what we're legally trying to do here tonight?
I think the only other piece would be the month-to-month extension of the sludge lagoons and why.
Right. So the sludge lagoons, that is where when Richmond sends us their processed sludge from their digesters and they sit in the lagoons that will be going away because as part of the clean and green process we'll be processing those differently. Until we can complete and be fully online with the clean and green project, we need to extend that so Richmond on a month-to-month basis can continue to put their sludge in there. Otherwise, the agreement would have expired at the end of this calendar year. So that's just to get us to the end of the project.
Okay. Thank you. Director Sudduth, would you like to add anything as a West County board member?
That would help. I think I turned it off. And I think he's been quite thorough in his depiction of what we are. But I'm ready to make the motion if there are no more questions.
Yeah, let me see if anyone has any questions first, and then we'll get to that. Thank you so much. Director Weiner, questions, comments? Director King-Meredith?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. Vice President Rentila?
I do. I have just a really quick question. I know we've been looking towards this day for quite some time, and I was just wondering if you could let the general public know. I know there's been a lot of thought and a lot of conversations surrounding this, but could you tell the general public that when these conversations started, so they know it didn't happen overnight?
Um, 4 years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago. I can't give you the exact start. We were thinking about amending and restating our agreement and went to work on that. We didn't really consider the possibility of dissolution until after we dug into that for a while and realized that we had an agency here that maybe didn't need to exist. And if we could unravel it successfully, that would be a good thing. And we continue to operate and be as transparent as possible. And it's I have to say, an opportunity that doesn't come along very often. I don't know, I think that General Counsel here says the same thing, that to have accomplished this in our career is actually really significant. It seems like one of those really administrative, like nobody other than us would care about. Whoa, what's the big deal on that? You did the clean and green? No, you don't understand. We dissolved the WCA. One is almost harder than the other. And it's a good thing in that we're not reducing the public's access to the information, but we're actually reducing the level of bureaucracy and improving the transparency. And you really can't say that together very often. And the fact that we're able to do it, and it required, cooperation from the city of Richmond, and we'd like to be honest, and I told them that on Monday, we would like to have been in this position a year ago so that there was more clarity between the operating agreements and the WCA, because they were not linked. We could have entered into these operating agreements with or without the WCA, but they would have changed their form and how we would have done them had the WCA still existed. But here we are. We did it before the end of the calendar year, not by much, but it's accomplished. Well, it isn't yet because you guys haven't voted, but hopefully.
Coming soon.
Yes.
So 4 years, and here we are. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And seeing there's no more questions or comments, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to approve regular calendar item 5.
I'd like to move the staff's recommendation to take actions related to the dissolution of the West County Agency as outlined in the staff report and the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, the item has been moved and properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
On the motion by Director Sudduth and seconded by Director Weiner to approve regular calendar item 5, those in favor say aye.
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 Say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 6, to approve a request for Directors King-Meredith and Sudduth to travel to Washington, D.C. to attend the CASA 2025 Washington, D.C. Yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Policy Forum, and for Director Sudduth to also attend ACWA's 2025 D.C. Conference in February 2025. Before we take public comment, I'd like to note that Director Weiner is also requesting to attend the CASA 2025 Washington, D.C. Policy Forum, and I'll be modifying the recommendation to include Director Weiner's travel request. Madam Clerk, have we received any public comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 6, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Okay, thank you. Director Sudduth, please provide us with information on your conference attendance.
So each year, CASA and ACWA convene a policy forum where they bring in electeds and water policy experts to come into from California to DC to discuss a set policies that we have predetermined are of interest to California's clean water and wastewater agenda. CASA takes place the first few days, starting on Sunday, ending usually on Tuesday afternoon. And we have a number of legislative and regulatory authorities and congressional officials come and speak to us. And then we go and have meetings on the Hill. What's different about that than the regular meetings that we have here in California is that we're actually advocating to policymakers what we need here in California, the people who are making the decisions, and the money that we need to be bringing back to California. Most of the day on Sunday, Monday, and are spent speaking directly to those policymakers. It is important because they want to hear directly from the constituents. We're bringing the voice of the constituents directly to them. Some part of the day on Monday and almost all of the day on Tuesday is spent directly on the Hill, making those capital visits. And we're responsible for making the arrangements with the help of usually Robin. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. She's our gift, along with Eric and Sarah Saperstein, who are our federal advocates on behalf of CASA. We made those reservations with our congressional representatives and sometimes our senatorial representatives, and we go directly there and we visit as many people as possible during those days. In addition to CASA, which I know my colleagues are going to speak on their own, I don't want to speak in this sense that because I've been to a lot of these, that we go in as a group, and it's not just West County. We actually go in, they pair us up with other agencies, and we go in as a group speaking to the agendas that are going to benefit all of Northern California, or all of California, mostly our region. So there are some specific things that we will be speaking to that's going to benefit wastewater and clean water, and then we speak about West County in the last few minutes. So just so you know, we don't just go in speaking about West County, it is a group. And there's going to, so in 1 year it was on the wipes issue, because we're pushing, and we're still gonna be talking about wipes, just so you know, because it's a national, instead of California, it's a national bill. We will likely be speaking about PFAS, which is what we've been speaking about the last few times that I've been going. And the EPA has just announced that it's going to be looking at the rulemaking on PFAS and not holding us accountable, but holding it accountable at the manufacturer level. So we're trying our best to push that. And then I will be, I'm asking to also attend Aqua, which is additional 3 days. It starts midday Tuesday and it goes through Friday to continue the work. Aqua has a national level, which is called NACWA, and we continue that advocacy with a whole new set of policymakers. And we talk again. We're talking about we have more people come in and talk to us about what's happening on the national level with water and clean water, and which includes wastewater. It's the one water philosophy. So we're responsible for setting our own appointments, but because I've been going there for so long, that's not a hard thing to do. We make a few phone calls and we are able to do it. We will be trying to get appointments with not just the traditional policymakers, but also the Army Corps of Engineers. This is a new administration, so many people will be moving around. So it is really important that we try and get in at the beginning and meet people, meet the new representatives and their new staff, and get a feel for what's going to be happening, who we're going to be meeting. Every new department, the Department of Water is going to be changing. Everything is going to be changing this year. EPA meetings, they set aside an EPA meeting on one of the days. So we go in and find out what's happening in EPA. And will be happening it's a very jam-packed day. You're very tired, bodies from beginning to end. And for people coming from the West Coast, they start at 7 a.m., which for us is, toothpicks in the eyeballs, 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's a very jam-packed, but we get a lot done. And, we're very fortunate to bring a lot of money back to the West Coast. Altogether, over the last few years, we've brought back more than $50 million to the West Coast. Don't know what that's going to look like, this new administration, but I'm being very optimistic that we'll be able to do that. Es todo. Is that enough, or you need more information? I'm not sure, but
I think that was a mouthful.
that's what we do.
We're good to go.
It's not a vacation. It's a lot of work. So
Sounds good. Appreciate your explanations.
thank you, sir.
No problem. Director King-Meredith?
President Alvarado, and to my colleague here, thank you. Director Sudduth, this is like old times. Past years, in order to get the money, you have to go and be seen. Especially, you have to be represented from the area that you're coming from. I was told by some funders, and even with working with the former Congressman Miller, he was said, in order to represent, they would like to see the individuals of the. Most likely, if you tell your story, you see others have a similarity story. And therefore, for the area that you represent, the area, as Director Sudduth said, West Coast, if you see that everyone is going for a certain goal in order to enhance the environment and to enhance your agency and see that you need these monies to do that, therefore they'll take notice. Again, you have to go to them. You have to go to the legislator. You have to go to the policymaker, and you have to tell the story. And you have to listen what they have to offer. I'm there to network. I networked years ago for other agencies from the information that Congressman Miller had led me and his chief of staff. You have to go there so they know who you are. Many a times individuals, they just speak it, but they don't know the area. We're looking at projects that needs funding. One is the clean and green. We're looking at the shoreline. We're looking at the levee. We need money to do that. And it's just not about one time, but a continuing. And we have to go to certain lawmakers in order to let them know our story and what's going on, and to hear what they have to share with us and what is available. So I'm there to network. It's about networking at this point, and I'm ready for the challenge. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Director Weiner?
I'm going to read what I wrote. The Policy Forum is an early look into federal government behavior regarding California's sewage agencies for the coming year. Attending the conference will inform our board members' ability to modify or create policies accordingly, as well as determine what, if any, financial help the federal government might make available in the coming year, or what regulatory costs will be imposed on our industry. Secondarily, the board's voices will be added to the lobbying efforts of CASA to support the industry and prevent unintended harm to the industry by potential congressional action. Finally, many of the presentations will give our board members direct insight into the congressional plans regarding the overall economic direction and help us determine how it will affect our ratepayers.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I would ask for a motion and a second to approve regular calendar item 6 with a modification to include Director Weiner in the request to travel to Washington, D.C. to attend the CASA 2025 Washington, D.C. Policy Forum.
I'd like to make a motion to move the item.
Okay, item's been moved. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, item's been moved and properly seconded. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
On the motion by Director Rentila and seconded by Vice President Rentila and seconded by Director King-Meredith to approve regular calendar item 6 as modified. And those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say
Good one.
You guys are going to board the plane.
That's a late aye.
It didn't take 2 votes.
Those opposed say no. The item passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say to the board members that are attending this, I wish you good speed out there, and I wish that you get all the information and the lobbying that you need to do. So good luck with that. Thank you.
Yes.
Next item.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I'll add one comment on that, staff will also be attending the CASA Policy Forum. And hopefully, we'll have some additional meetings with the Army Corps of Engineers to piggyback upon our travel back there.
Yeah.
And continue advocating for funds for the construction of our nature-based solution, our living levee.
Yeah. I'll work on the schedule.
Yeah. Next on the agenda
I'll keep you guys posted.
is regular calendar item 7, to nominate a president and vice president of the Board of Directors.
We have not received any written requests to speak. If anyone wishes to comment on item 7, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Okay, thank you. General Counsel, please provide an overview of the election process.
The Board of Directors Policies and Procedures provides that the election of the board president and vice president will take place at the second regular meeting in December. The election of the president and vice president will be the last action item on the agenda, and the newly elected president and vice president assume their duties upon election. A director may be nominated by another director or self-nominated. Once all nominations are closed, the board will vote on each nominee. Directors may only vote for one of the nominees. A nominee is elected upon receiving 3 or more votes. If no one receives 3 or more votes, nominees receiving no votes will be eliminated from the next round of voting, and voting rounds will continue until a nominee receives 3 or more votes. I'm happy to respond to any questions, and if there are none, I suggest that the board president open the nominations.
Okay, great. Thank you for that explanation. I will now open the nominations for president. Directors, are there any nominations for president? Seeing none, then I'm gonna nominate Vice President Rentila for president. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any further nominations? All right, seeing none.
Can I ask, just for the record,
Sure.
Vice President Rentila, do you accept the nomination?
I do. I've never been married, so I get to say that once, right?
Really? This is when you choose to stay.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess we'll close the nominations for president, and we will now take a vote. Madam Clerk, please take a roll call.
On the motion by President Alvarado and seconded by Director Weiner to elect Vice President Rentila as president of the Board of Directors for a one-year term or until a successor is elected, Director King-Meredith.
Yes.
Director Sudduth. Yes. Director Weiner.
Arto Rentila.
Okay. Vice President Rentila
Yes.
and President.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations to the new officers, President Rentila and Vice President Sudduth. Oh, sorry. Haven't done that one yet.
Nothing up my sleeve.
Okay, now we'll open the nominations for Vice President. Do we have a nomination for Vice President?
Yes, yes, you're still president right now, right? Yes, okay. President Alvarado, I would like to nominate for vice president, Director Sudduth.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to second that nomination. Are there any further nominations for Vice President? Seeing none, I'd like to close the nominations and ask Director Sudduth, do you accept the nomination for Vice President?
I've been there. I should say I am married.
Right?
Yeah, be careful with that one.
He doesn't listen to this, so he won't hear it. So, yeah.
Yes, okay. Madam Clerk, please take the roll call vote.
So on the motion by Director King-Meredith and seconded by Director Alvarado to elect Director Sudduth as Vice President of the Board of Directors for 1 year or until a successor is elected, Director King-Meredith.
Yes.
Director Sudduth. Yes. Director Weiner. Yes. President Rentila
Yes.
and Director Alvarado.
Yes.
We have, the motion passes 5-0.
I believe that President Rentila would like me to finish the rest of the meeting as president, correct?
I think out of respect, I'd like you to finish out the year and finish out your term and finish out this meeting.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. I appreciate that.
If you say I do.
All right, next item.
All right, Mr. Acting President. Next on the agenda is other business, item 8, reports from staff, general manager, general counsel. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on item 8?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 8, please come to the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comment.
Thank you. Just a reminder, tomorrow from 1 to 3, we have our holiday walkabout at the plant. I know a number of board members have indicated they intend to be there. Aaron's staff will be happy to greet you, and, well, we'll be there as well. But and then tours of the plant if you so desire, and we may have some other members of staff who come down at the same time that want to meet with the board members or not, but it's available and it's open to them if they want to. Probably be similar to last year, where not a whole lot of people, but there'll be some. And then there's an opportunity, of course, to see the operations and maintenance staff and get a tour. And I guess Director Weiner and I, we can talk when we're on our tour. I think that's all I have with that, other than the check register. If there are any questions on that, staff's available to answer any questions.
Any questions on the check register? Director Weiner?
No, I just have a observation that Synagro is 20% of the check register.
Yes, it hurts every month that we keep having to get closer and closer to the end here.
Director King-Meredith? None. Director Sudduth? President Rentila? Okay. I have none.
Okay,
Next item, please.
thank you. Next item, final item on the agenda is item 9, director's comments and meeting reports. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have not. If anyone wishes to comment on item 9, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Okay, let's start with Director Weiner.
Since our last meeting, I attended the El Sobrante Municipal Advisory Committee, the West County Forum, and the Richmond City Council meeting. I did notice that the council had the dissolution of WCA on the consent calendar. I'm assuming they voted for it.
Okay, thank you. Director King-Meredith?
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of items. The last time I had mentioned that one of our developers of North Richmond and the partnership with Eden Housing had their groundbreaking for apartments that are be going up in North Richmond. It has taken 22 years in order for it to come to fruition, but the groundbreaking took place with many of the partners that helped get the funding in order for this to happen. And this was on the 16th in North Richmond with the new development that will start construction very soon and should be completed in 26. The other activity was today. I had mentioned at our last meeting that we were going to be a part. West County Wastewater was also being a part of the Stige Elementary School. Unfortunately, this school was at the junior high at Dijon Middle School because of the closing of the school due to contaminants that was found in the building, and they had to remove the individuals, all the students, into available spot, which is at Dijon Middle School. The event today was to greet, the children got a chance to meet Santa, and he didn't leave his wife in the North Pole this time. Was there, which me played a part of Miss Santa, and we have pictures of that. And the kiss was just phenomenal. It was quite a few years for me to be back in the schools, working with children, working with elementary, from kindergartners up to 6th grade. They were just phenomenal. It was just really heart-deepening to see some of the second graders, kindergartners, when they saw us, they were just like, oh, they was at awe, like we had really come from the North Pole, but we just played along with them. Yeah, we from the North Pole, and they were just heartwarming. And it was just tremendous for us to be a part, to serve the children for Stige. And I had Director Sudduth there. The agency purchased a lot of giveaways. I met with our district clerk, Robin. We had some swags. We had different swags with our logo to let them know who West County Wastewater was, for them to take it home and just, just they had a lot of great things that they received, and they were very appreciated to read these things. So with that, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to turn it over, if it's okay, for Director Sudduth to, in her report, if she can expound a little bit more on it, but it was just heart-filling. It was wonderful, and I thank you all for that.
All right, thank you, Director King-Meredith. If I understand today, you were called Annie Claus?
Yeah, Nicola.
Annie Claus.
Director Sudduth, please.
FNA meeting. FNA meeting.
And another reminder, I'm not done. And our finance and administrative meeting that took place also last week. Okay, and I think that's it.
Now I'll let you
All
go.
right.
Now she's gonna let me off the hook. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Yes, we, let me see really quick, Board of Supervisors meeting, two of them. The County Equity Committee meeting, the Richmond City Council meeting. Actually, I went to the swearing in of the El Cerrito City Council last night. The National Human Rights Day, International Human Rights Day, the remembrance of National Pearl Harbor, which was, I think it's important. Our Finance and Administration Committee meeting. And then to see Miss Annie Claus, which was really good. Not Santa Claus, she was Annie Claus. What I just passed out, and I have some more for you guys, was, and I think, Andrew, you may have dropped it, but there was a chain on there. I was not going to put all these chains on these little toys, so you got to put your own chain on there. But one of the little gifts that we gave them was these little poppers. And you put a little chain on there, and so it goes on their backpack, and the children just loved it. And the other one was the little mini Etch-a-Sketch. And then we have the yo-yos. Thank you very much, Miss Robin. And then they had a gift bag, and they had just so many other toys. But I think the biggest joy that we had was walking in and seeing when they saw Santa Claus and Miss Annie Claus and watching their little faces light up. And the eyes were so big. And one little boy was looking at her. He was in love. The little TK, and he looked her in her eyes, and he was just like, he was mesmerized. And some of them actually did cry, right? Some of them cried when they came and they got to sit in between their laps and just take a photo, and they were just so happy. And it just reminds you, I mean, it's not even my holiday, but I don't do Christmas, but I do children. And it was, so if you ever get a chance to do something like that, I just tell you, just do it. Especially if you're having one of those days, which I seem to be having one of those days each week, each day of the week with work. But they just, as we walked through the campus to get to the other side, they were like, well, these are the big children, because it's Levonia Dijon, the middle school. And so they were like, the big children won't appreciate it, but they did. Even the middle school children were like, because the guy was dressed as Santa, was really tall. And they were like, wow, and they were so excited and so happy. And then we get to the other side with the TK to sixth graders. And the one that really got to me, and I was like, I need to know that child's name, was, they said, what would you like for Christmas? And he said, we don't have a bed. Could you get me a bed? And that one got to me. And I was like, I need to know his name. I'm going to go to IKEA right now. But most of them wanted a baby doll or, and so they got books and they got all kind of things. And the teenagers got, and some of them got multiple gift cards, but it was just very sweet to see just in that moment, just little things can change the world, right? And we might not be able to cure cancer with the work that we do, but we can change the world just with little things. And you think that these little things are just, they're just little things, but they were waiting for them. They were waiting for them. So thank you for allowing us to do just these little things for them and to participate and get to know. They're like, where are you from? And you get to tell them, we're from they don't know what wastewater is. We're from the water district. You know where your water comes from? And they say, yes. And then they understand. Every time you flush your toilet now, you remember me. Right? Every time you wash your dishes, every time you take a shower, I want you to remember me. Yes. And then the last thing, and I will have, where's Michael Savannah? I'm going to ask him to tell you. I do want to say something about our food drive. Can you please, sir? Because this one is really important. I'm glad. And thank you guys for allowing us on the board to have just a little bit of this, indulging us in participating in the community in this way, because, people aren't just hungry during the holidays. And so I'm going to ask Sir Savannah to just expound on this, not just for us in the room, but also on the video. Sir, about the food drive, please.
Yeah, so as you all know, we have a food drive going on here at the district. We have bins at 3 locations, so one here at the Hilltop office, one in the CSO building, and one down at the plant in the lobby. We are planning to continue the food drive through the MLK weekend, at which point we will gather all of the food up that we've collected and take it to the Contra Costa County Food Bank.
Thank you.
No
Appreciate it. And the last thing I'll tell you is EPA does have a webinar that they're putting out. I'll see if I can get that over to Robin or the GM to send to you. They have a webinar coming out, and they'll be asking for public comment. I don't think they've released the call for public comment. I know that it's coming out soon about about their ruling on PFAS, and it's supposed to be coming out in the next week, and then they'll be asking for public comment, both individual and organizational. So it's supposed to be coming out by Friday. So when it does, when I get the notice, I can send it. You want me to send it to you, Nicole? Okay, I can send it to both of you, and then we can send out something for that. I know that CASA and Aqua are asking for sign-on to the comments. So if you guys can please just take a look at it when it comes to you, that would be great. Because again, and so Director King-Meredith and Director Weiner, this is going to be something at the EPA meeting in DC, the CASA meeting. So if you want to attend the EPA, that list goes really, really fast, just FYI. And we have to sign up for it. And without it, you can't attend the meeting. So I'll give you more information on that. Same with Andrew, staff has to also sign up on it. So if you want to attend the EPA meeting, you'll have to let me know, because I have to respond to that like the first week of January, if we're all going to attend it or not. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome. And es todo.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, you and Director King-Meredith for doing that for the children. That's a great thing. Thank you. Vice President Rentila, or President Rentila.
Well, thank you. Thank everybody for nomination and the votes. I appreciate that. So at the RNCC, we also had elections, and nobody wanted to step up there either, so I got the job. I wanted to mention too for West County Wastewater here that the city of Richmond will no longer be dealing in bulk mail come February or March. So any bulk mail that we send out will have to go to Oakland to be sent out and distributed. Richmond will no longer be doing bulk mails. I just
You
wanted
mean
to
the
give you
Richmond Post Office, not the city of Richmond?
McVitie.
Okay.
none of the post offices. So at the Richmond City Council meeting, there was a proclamation to make the city of Richmond a sanctuary city for transgender folks, and it passed, obviously and easily, unanimously. There was discussion about the Nevin Plaza. The city manager also had her reports, and one of them is there's going to be a snow day at Nickel Park on Monday, December 23rd from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Snow day. Bring your snow gear. It's going to be cold. And there was also discussion about Parkchester and an infrastructure plan. Parkchester Village is located here in Richmond, and it's at sea level, and they have issues with flooding every year, and they're finally going to do something about it. So that's exciting. And then I wanted to mention at our IOE meeting, we had a presentation about nanoplastics and how to collect them. So eventually, we're going to ask them to come to the full board to present. It's pretty exciting. What's that? Oh, yeah, and we went to the mayor's conference also. Yeah, in the city of San Pablo. That was really nice. A lot of new mayors coming in and some going out, so it was a little somber to see some of these long-term mayors having to leave their office. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a productive and prosperous 2025 and learning from everybody here and being mentored. And the Fairmead Hilltop Neighborhood Council is still collecting clothing. So if you have any new or gently used clothing, you can drop it off at Hilltop Church, which is located at 3118 Shane Drive, right around the corner. And we have a new person heading the Chamber of Commerce, Vernon Whitmore, and he wants the chamber to become a little more active and involved with all the businesses in Richmond. So that's pretty exciting. And I want to thank President Alvarado for his work this year, and look forward to working with him next year. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. In mine's meetings I attended, well, the mayor's conference in San Paulo, which was a very nice event. Like President Rentila said, there was a lot of mayors that were outgoing, and it was nice to see some new faces there as well. So, thank you for that. I also attended the RNCC neighborhood meeting and holiday party. That was a beautiful event as well, very well attended. The IOE committee meeting in the San Pablo council meeting via Zoom, where a new mayor, Arturo Cruz, and a new vice mayor who just happened, my wife, Elizabeth Pabon Alvarado. So I want to congratulate them both on their ascension to that leadership post in San Pablo Council. And that is my report. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, I want to reiterate, I'm excited, and I want to congratulate everybody for getting reelected and elected. I think this is great, and I know this is the end of the year, so happy holidays and happy Kwanzaa and Hanukkah, and, see you next year.
Yeah. All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any announcements?
Yes, the WCA board meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom, and the next WCW board meeting is on January 8th, 2025, here at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to take a little privilege as the outgoing president and thank some people here. I want to thank the board for their support during the last year. It's made my job as president that much easier. I also want to thank the executive leadership team, especially General Manager Andrew Clow, Nicole Witt, the district attorney, and Robin Johnson, our board clerk, for their cooperation and giving me all the support that I needed to fulfill my obligations as president. Also, I want to thank Justin Lovell, Michael Savannah, and Aaron Weiner. I also want to especially thank Lakima Sams back there, who does all the heavy lifting. So thank you very much for that. It was much appreciated. And then I believe we had a very fulfilling year, and we have accomplished many things, but there's still a lot of work to be done here at West County. I want to wish President Rentila and Vice President Sudduth much success and assure them that I will be here to assist in any way that I can. And finally, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Rosh Hashanah, and a prosperous, prosperous New Year. And if I forgot any holiday, I apologize. And in my last act as president, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. It is approximately 7:45. Did not think we were going to get out of here that early tonight, but all right, that's great. Merry Christmas, everyone.
People are sneezing. These guys were coughing. It's my allergies. Yikes.
Yeah, keep that.
Thank you. I'm coughing because I should have been wearing the dust mask when I was.
Dave,
Just like that, huh?
President Alvarado,
There was a good deal, shall we say, nastiness in the. You want President Alvarado? Clean the whole thing out.
President Alvarado.
That was no good, huh?
I'll go walk.
And the other thing is that I'm going to talk to the chamber because Vernon said he wants to be more active, and we were assigned to go to President Alvarado.
You forgot the most important holiday, which is the winter solstice, because the days get longer after that.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
I'm sick of the dark.
Me too. I don't know how people deal with that stuff.
I'll see you tomorrow,
Yes, I'll be there.
and I'll walk